Hey everybody, welcome back to another craft break. My name's Emma Panuski. I'm a content creator here at Plaid, and today I am going to do a little show and tell for you guys. So if you don't know about this already, every quarter or so, Plaid releases a new curated color palette with all of our folk art paints, our folk art matte paints, and then some fun specialty colors. We look at the trends. That's a big thing that we do here at Plaid. We're always looking at what people are making at home, what new innovation is happening in home decor and in the crafting world. And with all of that data that we collect, we release these really great color palettes for you guys to buy on plaidonline.com and make some really beautiful, trendy project vignettes with. So before I get too into the craft break today, I do want to say that Caitlin is in the studio with us. So if you have any questions about a color name or how to make a project that we're showcasing, then make sure to comment that down below. Caitlin's looking at all your questions and answering some and sending some over to me. So hey Caitlin.
Hello.
Okay, so I was thinking that I would show you guys, we have 5 different color palettes for you guys at home. So I have a task for you all at home. By the end of our live stream today, I want you to type in the comment section which is your favorite color palette that we discussed on our live stream today. And at the end, I'll share my favorite and we'll get Caitlin to share hers too. Okay, so we have 5 different color palettes like we were saying, and I thought it'd be fun to go over all of the colors that you can get in the palette and show you some project inspiration that you can make with your color palettes. How's that sound? Okay, so I'm going to push this aside really quick. So the first color palette that I wanted to talk about is called Power Play. So you get an assortment of different types of paints in it. You get some blacklight neon paints, which you can see in this really cool glass vase that we did here. And then we added this dripping accent with our color shift black. So this is a really cool palette because you get 4 different colors of neon blacklight folk art paint. You get that beautiful color shift black, and then you also get a really fun pop of silver glitterific. So when I think of this color palette, I think of like a young person who has an affinity towards neon. Neon lights are so big right now. This is just such a really fun, vibrant, and youthful color palette. So this is called Power Play. And again, if you guys want to pick up one of these color palettes for yourself, then you can actually go to plaidonline.com, type in Power Play or whatever color palette name that you are interested in the search bar. It'll bring you to the project page where you can find these paints for yourself and load them to your cart. Okay, so that was our Power Play, that really fun, vibrant neon color palette, which is so big right now in Halloween crafting. Next, I am going to show you guys kind of take a different turn. So these are some projects that are inspired by our cozy comforts. So whenever I think of our cozy comfort palette, I think of a really beautiful, rustic, kind of muted, earthy toned farmhouse palette. So it has some really beautiful hues of green and tan, really fitting in with that rustic farmhouse decor. And if you guys don't mind, I'll just go through all of the different paints so that you guys can get inspired by the Cozy Comfort palette. So firstly, we have Mossy Meadow, this beautiful soft mossy green color. Vintage White, a classic, not so harsh with a titanium white or a wicker white, but you get some of that really warm hue coming through to kind of bring a homey feel to your color palette. Berry Wine, that beautiful burgundy, makes me think of like fall fruits like apples and cherries, things like that. Camel, so kind of like a medium tan color, again very calming. Windsor Blue, which is that really bright, fun pop of kind of like a jewel tone color to add some excitement to the palette. Coffee Grounds, which is actually a really exciting new color. This is just like a really cool toned dark brown, which is actually really, really beautiful. And then lastly, to really bring some flair into the Cozy Comforts color palette, we have our brand new Sugar Metallics paint in the hue Evergold, which you can see on this little pumpkin right here. It's this really beautiful gold color. And if you have never heard of our Sugar Metallics before, then make sure to check out our new product showcase that we did last week, all week long. I think it was the first day, Monday, we talked about our Sugar Metallics paint, a really exciting new metallic formula that we just introduced into the Folk Art brand this year, a really unique, beautiful textured paint. So go check that out if you haven't yet. And then to round out the Cozy Comfort palette, we have Folk Art Metallic Pure Gold, which is a very traditional, adds to that kind of foresty, woodsy, almost like, reminds me of like a storybook, like Winnie the Pooh or something. You need that pop of classic gold. Okay, so that is our Cozy Comforts palette. So I'll show you guys this really cool one next. So this is called Unexpected, and it's kind of just like the name. So it comes with some really beautiful shades of Folk Art Color Shift. So kind of recently we released some pastel Color Shift colors into the Color Shift line that you can see. Here's one of the colors here, is this pale pink pumpkin. And if you don't already know, Color Shift is really cool because it has that really metallic hue that actually shifts colors in the changing light. You can see it really well with our green one here. So this is really fun for maybe like kind of a space themed or kind of like a sci-fi inspired color palette. You know, specialty colors are so trending right now, neons and glitter and all of that really fun stuff. So this is another really great modern color palette that goes with all of the trends that we're seeing. So with that one, you get some really cool varieties of Color Shift in our Unexpected palette to create some really cool projects like the ones you see here. And again, that one is our Unexpected color palette. Okay, here is our next color palette, or really some projects that are giving you some inspiration with our color palette. So this is our Spooky Oddities color palette. So just like in the name, this goes really well with the trend of, you know, odds and ends and creepy crawly things like, you know, glass jars in like a scientist's lab or something like that. Really cool dark jewel tone inspired colors for our Spooky Oddities palette. Of course, you can see we added some little spiders to our Sugar Metallic vase here. Just kind of something unexpected that you wouldn't find in a maybe traditional Halloween color palette. And I'll show you guys all of the colors that come with our Spooky Oddities palette. So first we have Sap Green, which is this dark cool tone green, which works really well in any Halloween color palette. I kind of think of the Spooky Oddities color palette as like a classic Halloween color palette, but a little bit more on the spookier side and a little less on like the you know, 11-year-old Halloween movie that we all sit down and watch, like Charlie Brown, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so this next one is Imperial Red, which you can imagine red would come in handy in some of your Halloween crafting, if you catch my drift. Blue Odyssey, which is just a really beautiful, vibrant blue color. Festive Fuchsia, which I love in this color palette. It adds a really fun pop of fuchsia to your darker tones.
That'd be a really good lipstick color.
Yes, you are so right. I love this color. I actually think this is a new folk art color. Really, really gorgeous. And then finally, we have some more sugar metallics, which I feel like fit so well into the Spooky Oddities color palette because it's a really unexpected texture that you wouldn't find in traditional paint. And I feel like that is the same vibe of Spooky Oddities. Okay, so the color shift, or I'm sorry, the sugar metallic colors are Moon Dust, Smoky Quartz, which you can see in this little pumpkin here, the smoky quartz. And then lastly, Magnetic Purple, which of course is our spooky spider vase here that our magnetic purple's on.
That's so pretty.
So pretty. Okay, so I'll set this aside, and don't forget, you guys, you have to let us know at the end of our live stream which of these 5 color palettes is your favorite. Just a reminder, we just went over our Spooky Oddities color palette. Before that, we talked about Unexpected, a really cool color shift focused color palette. We also talked about Power Play, which is that really fun neon one with all of the neon blacklight paints, that silver glitterific, and the black color shift. And then firstly, we talked about Cozy Comforts, which is that kind of woodland inspired rustic farmhousey color palette. So I thought that this would be a really great one to wrap up with. This is our Modern Classics, which is just like the name. It really has all of those modern, nostalgic colors that we all think about when we think of Halloween. It has that nostalgic feeling, but we kind of modernized it and brought it to 2023. So let's go over those colors. First, we have Goldenrod, which is a really, which is kind of like a warm yellow color, really beautiful yellow. Next, we have Canyon Sunset, which is like a classic orange, but it's more of like a vibrant orange, which works so well in the Modern Classics palette. Next, we have Forest Moss, which is this beautiful mossy green color. Up next, Violet Pansy. In my opinion, it's always nice to have a purple in a Halloween color palette. Cinnamon, bringing in a really versatile neutral into the palette. And then lastly, you get that specialty paint in our Sugar Metallic Black Comet. So you guys can see we added some of that Sugar Metallic Black Comet to this candlestick here, which really just gives an unexpected flair to an otherwise pretty basic piece of decor. So that is our Modern Classics color palette. I hope that you guys were inspired by one of the 5 color palettes that we talked about today. Again, if you are interested in buying one of these color palettes so that you can make some beautiful Halloween projects at home, you can go to plaidonline.com. In the search bar, type in the color palette that you're looking for, and then the page will come up where you can browse through and pick some up for yourself. So you guys, I want to remind you to comment below which color palette was your favorite. Now it's time to share ours, Caitlin. I think my favorite is the Modern Classics, those really classic Halloween colors, but kind of elevated and more adult. What about you?
That one is my second. My first is the Unexpected palette.
Unexpected, that's a good one. I could totally see that. Okay, so we shared ours. It's time for you to share yours. So don't forget to say which one is your favorite down below. I hope you guys enjoyed watching our little show and tell of our fall color palettes.